Hello, and welcome to Catholicism in the Car. My name is Parker Zerbal. I guess maybe I'll give an exhortation, you could say, about something that happened to me recently. I was talking with some other parishioners at my parish, and while discussing with them, some pretty basic questions came up that they were asking me, and I think I'm going to harp on catechesis again and the crisis that we're in the Catholic Church. But not just catechesis. We have a crisis of general understanding of what the Christian life is and what it means. Because there are certain people who are fairly well catechized, but yet have not formulated a prayer life, don't really know the spiritual life very well at all. So it's like they have one lung, but they're not able to cultivate the other. Or there's some people that, are very, very spiritually minded. They pray a lot. They're very devout, but yet they have a lot of basic misconception about catechesis. And now that there is a difference here, because one can have a simple faith without having, this is going to sound harsh, but one can have a simple faith without having an ignorant faith. And I don't mean ignorant in the harsh modern form of that word. I mean it more in the literal sense. You don't know something. Ignorant comes from ignosce, kind of meaning no knowledge or lack of knowledge. So, because there were many saints that were very, very holy, they wouldn't be able to use all the theological jargon and all this sort of stuff, but they knew the basics of catechesis. And when we get the basics of catechesis wrong, it's very easy to fall into a heretical mindset or heretical beliefs. I can't tell you how many Catholics I've met that have been, in their 70s or 80s. They've been going to Mass their entire lives. And they don't understand, very basic ideas of Catholicism, is Jesus God? I had that question once by a cradle Catholic. How do we know Jesus is actually God? And while yes, that's a very good question, and it needs to be addressed, and I would never shame the person for asking such a question. It is telling, though, at what level or lack thereof that people have been catechized over the last generations. And again, you don't want to push the knowledge part of our faith to the detriment of any other part, especially to the detriment of the relationship part of our faith, our relationship with God and our relationship with other human beings. But you also, the Baltimore Catechism laid out, the Baltimore Catechism laid out three, tenets, basically, for learning the faith. And it's know, love, and serve. So knowledge, a loving relationship with God and neighbor, and then serving God and neighbor. And the order is important there, because you can't know anything you can't love anything that you don't know. And you can't serve anything in a truly Christ-like manner. You can't serve anything that you don't love. And this probably bears repeating that love is different than like, right? You don't have to like everybody. You don't have to have good feelings towards everyone. But you do have to love people. You do have to love people, which is an act of your will. It's a choice that you make to act in certain ways towards someone. So true Christian service is born out of Christian love. And true Christian love is born out of catechesis, or Christian knowledge. Not everyone has to become a theologian. Not everyone has to know all the philosophical ins and outs of the faith, know all the jargon. You don't have to do all that. But you do have to know enough so that you're not inadvertently swerving into heresy or apostasy. Yeah, so I really want to exhort Catholics, especially those who have been well catechized, to take up the banner of the cross in that regard and use those gifts that you've been freely given and graciously given. Use those gifts for the good of the church so that people can know, love, and serve. Because in the end, that's what it's all about. In the end, the goal is sanctity. The goal is union with God forever in heaven. And I've talked about this previously, about how exactly that works in the episodes on the spiritual life. But the end of our life is total and utter loving union with God. First off, it'll be in heaven. That's a temporary state. And then later on, it will be with our resurrected bodies in the new heaven and the new earth for all of eternity. Thank you.
Oh, real quick, please feel free to subscribe to any of my podcasts on any of the podcast players. Find me on YouTube. Please subscribe. Like me on Facebook, like the Catholicism Car channel on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all there, Catholicism Car. And then I also have a Patreon account if you wish to support what I do at this podcast and this YouTube channel. And you can also support us on Anchor.fm. There's a support button there you click on. I also have links to all this on my website's support page at www.catholicisminthecar.com.